Welcome to this explainer. I'm so glad you've carved out a little time just for yourself today. We're going to explore a really beautiful, transformative journey together, the embodied awakening, from physical grounding to pure awareness. We'll be looking at the profound connection between our physical bodies and our highest spiritual states, moving from everyday physical tension to pure, unburdened awareness. So go ahead and take a deep, settling breath, and let's jump right in. So who are you when the thoughts finally stop? It's a huge question, right? In our busy lives, our minds are literally always chattering. We're planning the future, analyzing the past, just reacting to everything around us. But beneath all that noisy surface, there's this incredible, profound stillness. And finding that thoughtless state isn't about forcefully shutting down your brain. It's actually about gently redirecting your attention. Today, we're going to look at exactly how you can find that inner silence, step by step. But first, we're starting right where we are, in the physical body, honoring your physical temple, easing pain and cortisol. You might be wondering, why start a spiritual journey with biology? Well, it's absolutely crucial. When we're dealing with severe lower back, neck, or shoulder pain, it creates massive physical resistance. And chemically, chronically high cortisol just breeds anxiety, fatigue, and terrible sleep. Lowering that cortisol is quite literally the essential first step for spiritual progress and mental clarity. You just can't comfortably reach the highest branches of awareness if your roots are completely strained. Let's actually practice a really potent 3-minute grounding technique right now. If you can, go ahead and stand barefoot, or just sit comfortably with your feet flat on the floor. Now, take 3 deep belly breaths. Really feel your body physically connect to the ground beneath you. As you breathe, mentally affirm to yourself, I am rooted. I am calm. Energy flows through me. Notice how this simple act gently signals your nervous system that you are safe, which allows those cortisol levels to naturally begin to drop.
Prana activation. From that grounded stillness, we can start to introduce some intentional movement. In traditions like Kundalini, simple actions like cat-cow stretches, gentle neck rolls, and a standing forward fold serve a really deep biological and spiritual purpose. They're basically giving your body a physical massage from the inside out, and they help regulate the flow of cerebrospinal fluid. By moving the spine intentionally like this, we're releasing that residual physical tension and clearing the path for energy to just rise freely. The sacred mundane, mindfulness in everyday action. This kind of practice naturally flows right off the mat and into our daily lives. It's wonderful to feel peaceful when you're sitting quietly in a dark room with your eyes closed, but the real test, the true test of spiritual practice, is holding on to that calm energy during ordinary, everyday chores. Yogic texts actually call this karma yoga, effortless action without attachment. It's really about becoming a channel of pure action, holding your presence no matter what crazy external circumstances the day throws at you. To put this into perspective, let's look at something you do literally every single day: mindful brushing. You can turn brushing your teeth into a masterclass in awareness. Try to be fully present. Close your eyes. Visualize your teeth. Feel your gums. Sense your tongue. Notice exactly how the brush is moving. Inevitably, your mind is going to drift to, say, what you're having for breakfast or that big meeting coming up. And when it does, don't judge yourself at all. Just gently bring your focus back to the physical sensation of brushing. It's a tiny but incredibly powerful daily practice of presence. Focusing on the space between. As you get more comfortable with this everyday mindfulness, you've got to try this beautiful technique. Instead of just looking directly at an object, try concentrating on the actual space between you and that object. In many spiritual traditions, they teach that this space isn't empty at all. It's practically vibrating with subtle consciousness. By noticing that relational space between the observer, you, and the observed, you instantly anchor yourself in the now. It really expands your awareness way beyond just physical, solid things. And that brings us to a fundamental shift in understanding: the ego self versus the witnessing self. Notice how heavy and reactive the ego self is. That's the part of us that so firmly identifies with our name, our form, and our physical body. It reacts to literally everything. Now contrast that with the incredible lightness of the witnessing self. This is your pure awareness. It doesn't judge, it simply observes your thoughts passing by, kind of like clouds floating across the sky. To really grow spiritually, we have to start identifying less with that reacting ego and a whole lot more with the calm, observing witness. To dive into this even further, let's turn to one of the most beautiful spiritual texts in the world, the Ashtavakra Gita, an ancient well of wisdom on non-duality or Advaita.
This text is a profound dialogue between the sage Ashtavakra and King Janaka, and it points directly to the realization that we are not the body, but rather we are pure consciousness. It boldly dismantles all our conventional, everyday concepts about the self, inviting us to finally wake up from the illusion of a separate ego. Let's take a moment to really let this profound wisdom sink in. The Ashtavakra Gita says, "I am not the body, nor am I the mind. I am pure awareness, eternal, infinite, and free." Wow, just let that resonate for a second. In this philosophy, the world we see around us is just a superimposition, much like a dream. It feels incredibly real until you awaken to your true nature. You are not your physical aches, and you definitely aren't your anxious thoughts. You are the eternal awareness that's simply experiencing them. This non-dual reality is beautifully echoed over in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra too. Think about this metaphor. Just as bracelets, bangles, and dancing anklets are all of the same gold, there is no one, not even God, separate from yourself. Even though our forms look different, a bracelet definitely looks different from an anklet, we are all fundamentally made of the exact same divine consciousness. We are all the same gold. Honestly, almost all our suffering stems from this illusion that we are somehow separate from one another and from the universe itself. Abiding in the gap. So how do we actually experience this pure awareness practically? Let's explore a really gentle technique. First, just sit comfortably. There's absolutely no strict posture required here. Second, don't try to control your breath. Just let the body breathe all by itself. Finally, gently shift your attention inward and just watch your thoughts. Don't try to force them to stop, and please don't follow them down a rabbit hole. Just watch them appear and watch them disappear without any attachment. You're simply training yourself to rest in that quiet, peaceful gap right between the thoughts. As your mind starts to quiet down, try this really striking visualization, again from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. It asks us to consider the skin to be the wall of an empty body with nothing inside. By meditating like this, one reaches a place beyond meditation. Imagine your body is literally just an empty shell. Only air inside and air outside. Only God inside and God outside. By meditating this way, you start to dissolve that rigid identification you have with your physical form. You break down the boundary between you and the world, merging completely into one pervasive space. You are the witness that never sleeps, never acts, and never changes. When all those thoughts finally subside and the rigid boundaries of the body soften, what's actually left? What remains is just pure awareness. You are the witness that never sleeps, never acts, and never changes. Even the tiny mental act of checking to see if a thought has popped up is just a small ripple within that vast, open consciousness. True peace doesn't come from micromanaging every little situation in your life. Peace comes from realizing you are the eternal witness, and because of that, you don't need to control anything at all. We've journeyed all the way from grounding our physical bodies and easing our cortisol right up to realizing our true nature as pure, non-dual consciousness. And I want to leave you with a final thought to carry with you today. Now that the clouds of thought have parted, how will you live within this limitless sky of awareness? How are you going to bring this profound, unshakable peace into your next conversation, your next task, your next breath? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Please be gentle with yourself, and I wish you deep, deep peace on your continued journey.